Welcome back to part 2 of Module 12, Lesson 9, where we're continuing our study on volume and surface area of composite figures. Now this time we're working a little different. This time it's going to have some subtraction because what you have is that Tanya uses a cube-shaped beads in order to make jewelry. Each bead has a circular hole in the middle and they want to find the volume of the bead. So this one's not that bad. We're going to find the volume of the cube. After the volume of the cube, we're going to take and subtract from it the volume of the cylinder, the circle that's inside, and that's all there's going to be to it. Let's get on to this one. First off, they took and calculated up the volume of the cube, and volume of the cube is going to be side times side times side, also known as side squared. And you could do that as base area times height also, where all three are the same. So base area side times the side of the height, side cubed. So there, that's where the side cube comes from. From here, let's zoom in just a little bit for you. We're going to take and plug in what we know. Each one of those sides are going to be 12. Good, that's in there. And then from there, 12 times 12 is 144, and 144 times 12 is going to be 1,728. Now we know the volume of the cube itself. The next thing we have to do is find the volume of the cylinder. The cylinder has a base area of a circle, which is pi times radius squared. So the formula they use is volume is equal to the base area, pi times radius squared, times the height right here. So we're going to plug that in, and we're going to say, well, figure out the diameter of this circle was 2. That means the radius is 1. So you have 1 squared, 1 times 1 is 1, and the height, that's going to be the same as the height of the cube itself, which is 12. So now I end up multiplying that one out, and I get 1 pi times 1 times 1 times 12, which is going to equal to simply 12 pi. We're done with that, and from here we can say that the volume of the cylinder is going to be 12 pi cubic inches. What do we have to do now? Now we get to subtract those two numbers. Now, because we are involving pi here, I'm just going to go ahead and use a calculator on that one, where I'm going to first find out what 12 pi is. Clean everything out. I'm going to put 12 times pi, which is going to give me this big old ugly number here. And that number, I'm just going to hit my memory plus to save it in my memory. And now I'm going to take the 1,728, and I'm going to subtract from that. I'm going to hit the memory recall, and that's going to give me the number that we just had there, and I'm going to hit enter, and now I'm going to have 1,690.3. Did they want it to the nearest tenth? Did they say? Yep, they did. So we're going to take and say 1,000, where was it? 1,000, oops, I totally lost it there. Dang it. Alright, I'm putting it back in. I found my value for 12 times pi. I'm going to take my 1,728. I'm going to subtract from that my memory recall equals, and there we end up getting the 1,690.3. 1,690.3. Check our answer, and the answer checks. It's not really that hard, but it does require a fair bit of work to be done. Now we're going to take and reset this one and set it up for extra example 2, which you're going to work on your own, I hope. Yeah, you guys can do this. All you have to do is find 2 different cones, add them together. Go. I wrote down my formulas first. I'm going to focus on that short little squatty cone right here, which has a height, which is going to be this number right here, 5.25. The radius is going to be 6. Volume is equal to 1/3 times pi times 6 squared, and oh, I missed the height here, times the height, so there's my height, which is going to be 5.5. From here, I'm going to say volume is equal to 1/3 pi times 6 times 6 is 36 times the 5.5, and that times right there, make it a little bigger. I'm going to put that over 1 so I can do some simplifying right there, making that 13. And now when I work this one out, I have 1 times 13 times 5.5. So let's grab a calculator and knock that out. 1 times 13 is 13. 13 times 5.5. That's going to equal to 71.5 pies which is going to be the volume of the short cone. Now we're going to find the volume of the long cone. I need to put my height in here as well. So I'm going to have 1/3 times, once again, I'm going to have the radius is going to be 6 all squared. Only this time the height is going to be this number, which is going to be 13. From here, I'm going to take and plug in what I work out what I know. I can do 1/3 times pi, 6 times 6. That's going to give me 36, which I'm going to put over 1 again, times the 13. And once again, I'm going to simplify. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 36 13 times. And I'm going to multiply that. So now I have 1 times 13 times 13, which I believe is 169 over 1. And I'm going to have a pi there again. Now let me just make sure 13 times 13 does equal 169. Good. So from here, I'm going to circle that. I'm going to add those two numbers together. So I have 169 pi plus 71.5 pi. Let me go ahead and get a little space here so that I can go ahead and put in my decimal and my 0. And now I have my pi's there. Add those up. Pi is going to come down. I have a 5. I have a 10. Carry the 1. That's going to be 8, 14. Carry the 1, and a 1. So I have 140 and 5/10 pi. We're almost done. Now all that I have to do to finish is multiply that 140.5 times pi. So I'm going to grab my calculator, which is right here, 140.5 times, with a pi right there, equals, and we get 441.4. 441.4 to the nearest 100. Let's see if the textbook says we are going to be right on that one. So I'm going to go right here, 441.4, check, still not good. And I found my mistake. I screwed it up when I simplified it, because what I should have done here is where I had 3 went into 36, it doesn't go into it 13 times, it went into it 12 times. And I had to go off and do that twice. So let's fix some numbers here. This one here is going to end up changing. This one here is going to end up changing. And all of this stuff right here is going to end up changing too. That's kind of frustrating, isn't it? So now 1 times 12 times 5.5. I'm going to do 1 time, whoops, let's try that again. 1 times 12 times 5.5 is going to end up giving us 66. So I'm going to write a 66 pi in for my green stuff, which is right here, 66. And then on the other one, the blue, I'm going to have, move it down a little bit, 1 times 12 times 13, which is equal to 156. So I'm going to take, on my blue, put in my 156 pi. Now let's try adding those up again. 156 pi and 66 pi. Add those up together. That's going to end up giving me a 12, carry the 1, a 12, carry the 1 again, and a 2. And 222 times pi, we're going to take 222, multiply it, times pi, equals 697.4. So that's going to be about 697.4 rounded to the nearest tenth. Jump back over to the textbook, and we're going to take and put that in, 697.4. Try again, and this time it did check. It's important to simplify your numbers properly. Let's look at example number 3 next. We have a toy block which has a shown dimensions. You've got a, looks like a cube, and on top of that cube you've got a square pyramid going on, and they want to find the volume of the entire thing. So first thing, we need to break it down and select the three-dimensional figures. So we have a cube and we have a pyramid. Check those parts checked. From here that you can see where they took and found the volume of the cube. Did a great job. good supporting work on that one, 592.7. They found the volume of the pyramid, 1/3 times the base area times the height. The base area was, of course, going to be side squared. Worked that one out and found that the volume of the square pyramid was going to be 136.2. So now the volume of the cube is about 592.7, and the volume of the pyramid is going to be about 136.42. We're going to check those. Both of those check. And next thing we have to do is simply add those two numbers together. So when we grab our calculator, because I am tired, I'm on my 10th video for today now, 592.7 plus 136.42 equals, and we're looking at 729.12. 729.12. Check that answer, and it's good. Easy math. Just got to find the volume of each individual piece and then add those pieces up together. Now you get one more extra example to do in this video, and then we're going to stop it and we're going to go on to video number 3 where we're going to do surface area. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Go ahead and work on this part right now, please. So we have Fido's house here, and the first thing I'm going to work on is that rectangular prism that's in the bottom. So volume, of course, is equal to base area times height, and my base area is going to equal to length times width with this one, because that's what we have in a rectangle. So now I can take and draw a little line. My base area is going to equal to 2.5 times 2.75. That means my base area for my rectangular prism is going to equal to 2.5 times 2.75. Multiply that out, 6.875. 6.875. Now I can plug that into my volume formula. Volume is equal to 6.875 times this height right here, which is 1.6. Volume is equal to, I'm going to take and multiply times 1.6 equals, and now I have, really? Wow, how about that for a nice number? The volume of the doghouse is going to be 11 cubic feet. Now we're going to take and find the volume of the triangular prism. Once again, volume is equal to base times height, but the base area is where things are going to get interesting, because this triangle right here, that's going to be my base. The height is the distance between the triangular bases. The formula for area of a triangle is going to equal to base times height divided by 2. So the base area is going to equal to, I have a base which is this distance here, and that's going to be 2.5 times the height, which is right there, also known as right here, 1, all divided by 2. So my base area, 2.5 times 1 is 2.5. Divide that by 2, it's going to be 1.25. Now we're plugging in over here. 1.25 times the height of the triangular prisms, this right here, that's going to be 2.75. Oops. Put in my multiplication symbol. Volume is going to equal 2. And now I'm going to take and write my 1.25 times my 2.75, and when I multiply that out, I get 3.4375. 3.4375. And we're going to circle that as well. Now all that's left is to add them up. The volume of the rectangular prism was 11, and we're going to go ahead and add some zeros in there. The volume of the triangular prism was going to be 3.4375. You add all those up together, you get 5, 7, 3, 4, and 14. So rounded to the nearest tenth is going to be 14.4. Jump back over here, 14.4, and check, and it checks. That's going to be it for video 2. Come back and look at video 3 next, because in video 3 we're going in a new direction. We're done with volume. We're going to start getting into surface area, and that's going to be a whole new challenge.